What's good, YouTube? We have Joel White's super in-depth tournament report, so it's going to be a really long one, so I'm going to try to speed through the deck a little, and then we'll go ahead and talk about it. We have 3 Volflame, 3 Gold Driver, 3 Silver Red, 3 Steelin, we have 3 Gofu, a Luster, and we're playing 3 Ariande in this build, a Unicorn Kieran, 3 Boombuku, 3 Eccentric, 1 Rescue Rabbit, 2 Maxis of Metalfoes Fusion, 2 Painful Decision, a Summoner's Art, not Solemn, we're about to get there, 2 Metalfoes Counter, a Metalfoes Combination, 1 Solemn Warning, and 3 Solemn Strikes. We've got Orichalc, 2 of them, and a Adamante, 1 Zolkin, 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, Ignister, Omega, Moonlight, we've got Break Sword, Grand Pulse, 1 Castel, 1 Utopia and Utopia Beyond, Daigasso Emerald, and Dweller, 2 of the Sticky String Kaiju, 2 Flying Sea, 2 DD Crow, 2 System Down, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, and MST kind of rounding out these, 2 Typhoons as well, and 2 Full House. So 5 Spell and Trap Destructions available depending on the matchups. So, I just want to make a quick note. I often see people either go 3, 3, 3, 3, and then like a 1 and 2, or like all of them are 3s, or we see a bunch of 2s like this. I don't really have a preference. I like 2s a lot at times when I'm not as comfortable with the format, because you feel like you get more of a range of coverage, but I also really like 3s because you're more likely to draw them. So, I actually ended up getting 6th place at the event after 5th place, but they did a point recalculation. Round 1, Basic Cosmo. I don't know if it's even 10-can turbo or not, 2-0. Game 1, I go first and get strike. He has no outs. Game 2, he bricks, and I out his 1 back row. Round 2, Cosmo Metalfoes, 2-0. So, one of the more interesting decks. Game 1, he misplayed and left Klee Scout in scale and tried to tag out in battle phase. Game 2, he bricked by opening all traps, and I took simplified game state for a few turns. Round 3, PK Fire 2-1. Kieran is a card. Game 2, I got striked and scooped. Game 3, Dweller and Strike won me the game. Round 4, I think PK Fire again, 2-0. Game 1, Kieran, that's all she wrote. Game 2, he couldn't do anything about a Flying Sea. Note, I might be getting some of the events between round 3 and 4 mixed up. I don't remember them too well. Round 5, some form of Pendulum 2-0. We start the match about 20 minutes late because I mentioned to him that I got down paired. It turns out his points were incorrect. So we tried to get them fixed to no avail. Game 1, he starts with a weak board, and I just search strike, and go off. Game 2, he bricked, and only Pendulum 2 then passed. I made a board, and he couldn't get past it. Round 6, Metalfoes Mirror 2-1. Game 1, strike, that is all. And that's kind of what Furman said, strike's very scary. Game 2, he returned the favor. Game 3, strike again. So, simplified, this is very good in the mirror. Round 7, Demise Cosmo. And I just want to take another note. There are main decked outs, so it's not like the end-all be-all, but it's very, very powerful. Round 7, Demise Cosmo 2-1. This was the guy who actually ended up getting first place at the event. Game 1, I go first and strike his pilots before he can do anything. Game 2, too many traps for me to handle, and he had a very strong board. Game 3, Full House for the win. I hit his 3-set Cosmo Town in the end, and only one of my scales. He was left with a ship and another Cosmo Town in hand. Round 8, Metalfoes Mirror, 1-1 tie. This guy ended up getting 5th place. He was actually playing 2 Thunder King Ryo in his build. During the match, the summon negation never came up, but the other effect hurt me bad. Game 1, he goes first, and after a close game that took about 6 turns, he goes through my army. Game 2, I have Strike, but he had Gofu. I made it out with Ignister, so he couldn't do much after, and I beat him the next turn, I believe. Game 1 took so long, so we ended up not being able to play Game 3. We did opening hands after just to see how it would have turned out, and while he could have made a board, it was not very difficult to play around, although I didn't open too hot, but I could have made a board. Round 9, Demise Cosmo, 1-2. I was really angry with myself about this back because I felt like I let myself get screwed over. Game 1, I opened 2 Psalms and he opened a ton of traps, GG. Game 2, this is where the controversy happened. Before this event happened, I got probably about 2 hours of sleep the night before, so by this point I was up for about 14 to 15 hours. Typical tournament stuff. At some point during my turn, I was doing a ton of searching, and he backtracked me by asking me how I did a certain play. I was so tired by that point, I forgot what I did exactly, but basically I'm sure I was robbed of being able to get a Solemn that would have won me this game. Basically, because honestly, I couldn't remember if I called the Ariande activation or not. So basically activated it but did not say it. I am sure I did, but I don't know for sure, so I just continue my play. He ended up breaking my board, and here we go to game 3. Game 3, I opened 2 Psalms and 3 Volflame. He had Twin Twister and Tin Can. That sucked. Final record, 7-1-1. Thoughts on the deck? My deck was mainly focused on making good turn 1 boards, but I was scared I wouldn't have enough to do going second. The 3 Centrics, Gofu, plus a level 3, and the Rescue Rabbit turned out to be just something enough for me to do something going second. I only saw it a few times, but after the event, would honestly say I think Rescue Rabbit should be a staple in every Metalfoes deck. It gives you access to instant rank 4, 3, or 2, but opening it going first, and you can still help getting a level 3 for Gofu. Or just being able to use it to pop for fodder for your scales. You can even use Grand Pulse as a combination to get a missing scale. I was told by a few people going into this event that Strike was bad this format, and I totally disagree. It auto wins against Pendulums if they don't out it. It beats Cosmo most of the time. I didn't play against Blue Eyes, but if you hit Alternative, they cannot Monster Reborn it, and it isn't too strong against BA, but it still hurts. Yes, Twin Twister is a very common thing now, but they have to drop. Potential changes. I would definitely side deck a 3rd Full House because the deck can abuse it by targeting your own cards. I would also put in a 3rd Flying Sea. I would cut the system downs because I never sided them in except once and I didn't need them. I would also like to play a rank 7 because it comes up a lot in this deck since Volflame and your main counter summon. I would do a Big Eye, I think, but Draco Sack would have been nice. I would also try to main an MST because I wanted a bit more back row hate and it also can unbreak hands with combination. I would likely cut Summoner's Art. Not that the card is bad, just not necessary. Shoutouts! Mythic Monster Gaming and Highland India, Anna, and all of the regular players that go there. I believe they have made me a better player due to their high skill levels. Me and my friend Alex's YouTube channel, The Meta Crushers. My favorite deck, Ojamas. Lastly, I hoard the shirt. I hoard the shirt at the event and carried a box around with me to keep myself in. So I'd like to give a big shout out to Bootios. They make sure you're not booty. And also one more shout out to Top Tier Yu-Gi-Oh! And the next great Yu-Gi-Tuber championship over on Nimnim's channel. So thanks for hanging out with Joel White's in-depth tournament report. Hope you enjoyed that. The late tournament salt, all of the feel. You really kind of got everything out of that. So if you enjoy these super in-depth, or if you just enjoy pausing that screen and fast forwarding to the end, please subscribe. Be sure to like it. I try to read this out and do my best for you guys.